Hello, everyone. This is PD Prasad, co-founder and chief product officer at Lightbeam.ai. And today we have the pleasure of talking to Kalyan Chakravarthy, KC, for those of us who know him well. He is the CIO at the regional municipality of Durham region in Canada. And he has kindly agreed to share some of his perspective and thoughts with us on what's next in the IT landscape, and particularly in the area of security and privacy. Casey, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you, PD.
So, Casey, I know that you just returned from the big Gartner conference in Florida, and you probably got an opportunity to hear from the analyst team, but also from your peers. You probably also met a number of vendors over there. If we could start with what are you seeing as the next emerging trends in the IT landscape, that would be great.
Yeah. Always when I go to such kind of a conference, it is like drinking from a fire hose, right? Like there is so much of information and it is varied set of things, like what is happening in the world from the technology perspective, what's happening in business. But like what I took, like if I have to just summarize for myself and like come back, I think there are key things that came to me is every business strategy. Like I think majority of the CEOs and business leaders, their strategy component has a digital in that. So there is no longer digital is a separate strategy, but like almost in everything, there is digital that is playing a part. The second most important thing, which I found it very, very interesting, is after the post-pandemic, the culture is no longer in the organization, the offices that is there, but the culture that you are developing will be on the digital side of the things. So how do you get that digital engagement, that cultural engagement, that like those kind of nuances with your employees? I think that is a big second thing that I took. And the third, which is very interesting, which I always believe in and like I am more passionate about, is about the augmented reality. Bringing of augmented reality into the day-to-day life, like where when I was listening to the global CEO of Accenture, and she talking about like if she has to put in a bet on which technology, she picked Meta as like that is where like it would be there in that like metaverse would be the one. And like when I look at it, like because it is a combination of everything. It is, we talked about data analytics, we talked about big data and the power, we talked about cloud computing, we talk about AI, we take about AR, VR, everything, but like the metaverse like combines everything. And like how can you really use that for a customer experience as well as an employee experience and customer engagement, employee engagement. So the world is going to change, and the post-pandemic, like I think we all need to really look at how is that engagement becomes that part and like how we can use technology. So those are my top three if I have to take from 4 days of nonstop of listening to things and like getting, and like some things sometimes they don't stick, some do stick. So if I missed anything big ones, it's not that like I'm saying these are the only three. This is what I took it from it.
Wonderful. No, that's a great summary. So digital culture and augmented reality. One could almost say it's like culture is getting digitized in some sense. It's no longer in the offices, but it's actually moving to a digital world where employees are supposed to be getting engaged and they're engaging with their customers and so on over digitally in some sense. Very interesting. Now, as the world becomes more and more digital and we all move towards the metaverse, one of the concerns that we hear probably often now is around privacy and security, which is sensitive data gets everywhere, and whose sensitive data it is, and who are we sharing that with? How are we handling that sensitive data? If I were to ask you from a mid to long-term perspective, about a year from now to 3 years from now, what are the key challenges you see emerging, particularly in the area of privacy and security?
I think there are no new challenges that are coming in. The challenges are the same, but like how we tackle it might be a bit different. And like the pace with which we need to tackle becomes a very important one. The first being, when I talk about privacy and security is about awareness. The awareness of privacy and security amongst the employee base that you have, the organization wide, because the digital dexterity of like majority of the organizations, it's a spectrum, right? Like there are people, like it's that bell curve, like in any of the sampling, right? Like it is the bell curve where there are a lot of people who fall into that, like they understand the things, but like how are you dealing with this side of the outliers, and how are you making sure that you are moving them onto it? So awareness becomes a big part. That's the first part of it. That's where like I take it back to that engagement part, because if you engage them, you can teach them, you can make them self-aware, and you can tell them what needs to be done. The second part of it is like, I think many people say this, and like I think I'm repeating, but it is about privacy by design and security by design. It is, you're not, it cannot be an afterthought. It cannot be, because it becomes so complex the moment you built it. Like you cannot retrofit these two things into it. So if you are doing anything, like just, I think it's better to really think about what is the data that I have, and then like how am I securing it, and how am I making sure that like it is being accessible by the people who are only allowed to be accessible. Then the third, like where the next one from a privacy perspective is about your knowing what you have. It is about like your asset management. And when I say asset management, when you look at asset management, you typically think about your hardware, your all this kind of a thing. But like this is about data is also your asset. So you need to have what is the data that you have, and what kind of data, who owns it. So that governance perspective, I think having strong governance fundamentals becomes a very important thing. And like if organizations have not invested on it, I think this is high time you invest on it, because if you don't have the governance, you can't be handling privacy and security in a piecemeal way, because this is an enterprise wide, this is an application agnostic, infrastructure agnostic. It is an application, like it's an enterprise wide thing. So that's where you need to have that governance structure. So get that one in. That structure will decide and define what your security strategy and your privacy strategy will be.
Got you, got you. So privacy and security by design, not done in a piecemeal way, but having an enterprise-wide approach to privacy and data security as IT leaders start looking into the emerging trends within IT, which includes things like metaverse and a digital culture that's emerging and emanating essentially. Now, we at Lightbeam, we are grateful and lucky to count the region as one of our customers. I must ask you at this point in time, because obviously you as the IT leader and your team would be looking at so many solutions. You're always bombarded with one or the other solution every day, almost, I must say. What stood out for you when you were assessing Lightbeam as a platform to handle your data security and data privacy compliance needs?
Yeah. So I don't want to put in the sales pitch of yours by me, but like I will definitely say what attracted me to this particular product is, I think the biggest thing was the ability of this particular tool to understand the sensitive data across all formats. Because like we have seen, like majority of the solutions looking at in a standard, either it is in a text or like any other thing, but like this one cuts across all the formats, and like its integratability with like the existing applications as well, like to really able to read. That is what like first thing that stood out for me. And then when we were talking even about like data, like it is not only did not look at data internally when we're transferring, but like when we are sharing data with our external stakeholders, where like it is necessary, because we are in a municipal government, like we work with different agencies, with different stakeholders. So a tool that has an understanding of like how, what, like who are it, so that like external stake, that flexibility is what like is the second one. And third, like I can feel that like once I have this, we have got our compliance regime automated. Like, so where I'm not like really having to go through and say, hey, is it really, are we complying to these many, these are all the 5 steps. But like once you configure it, you forget it. Once in a while, you do the QC part of it to make sure that like everything is running right. But like that takes away really a lot of like that gives me back a lot of time that my team used to put on to making sure that there is a compliance. So it's, for me, it's like, for the lack of better word, this is like a compliance as a service for me, where like it takes care of the takes care of the stuff. So that would be my top three. Like, I don't want to go into the technicalities of it, but like from a business usage perspective, these are the things that like I thought that really attracted me towards this particular tool.
Well, we really appreciate that feedback, Casey, and it's very encouraging for us to hear how you and your team are able to see value and derive value, first of all, using our platform. Very, very, very much appreciate that, obviously. As other organizations, state and local agencies, enterprise organizations, federal agencies, as they start looking, I suppose they probably are looking at this problem already. What would your guidance be for them as they start, putting together their 1 year, 3 year, or 5 year plans for digital transformation with respect to IT, and as they start looking at security and data privacy and compliance in a much closer way, in some sense?
So that I think I go back to the basic thing that, like I said, like a few minutes ago, it is about having a governance framework. I think you need to have a solid foundational governance framework where, like, once you have the framework, you identify the tasks that like you want to do, and like what is your mandate from like, because each, like whether it is if you're a local government, like in Ontario, you have some certain particular set of things that you need to be compliant about. If you are in a Quebec, there is something else. So it depends upon what kind of organization and what kind of data that it is there, and what are the laws like MHIPAA, PHIPAA, like all these kind of things that are there. So make sure that like you have all the list of your compliances that you need to meet, and your data inventory that you have, like what is your data assets, and like what is the key information, like because not every data is as precious as like the other one, right? Like, so identify those things, see where you need to start first, and like once you're starting there, see how can you automate it, because like the biggest challenge that we get into is like we have so many things to do with less number of resources. So that is where, like, whether you call it as a security operations centers, that's where the SOCs came in. The same way, like maybe like you find this for privacy ones, like where like maybe you might have POCs, like a privacy operations center, like where like what happens, like because not everything is as important as it is there. So setting those priorities, you're dividing your data also into different priorities, and making sure that like you are automating majority of them is what like my direction would be.
Wonderful. Well, we are definitely going to borrow the privacy operations center concept from you. I learn every day. Every time I talk to you, there is something new that comes up, and I think this POC concept is really, really, really useful for us. So we're definitely going to borrow that from you. Great advice to the fellow CIOs. Start thinking from a data governance. If I were to just paraphrase what you stated, start thinking from a data governance standpoint, start thinking from an automation standpoint. Yes, there will be many rules and regulations. There are current ones, there will be emerging ones. If you start from a data governance framework, is what you're saying, and with automation built in place, then no matter what the current regulations are or the future ones are, you will be starting at a very, very good spot. Great advice. I must ask, I guess, for my team, any piece of advice and guidance from yourself for Lightbeam itself, for our team?
I think what I like when the team, like any of the solution providers who come to me and say, like, if they ask me for advice, said you should be the experts in your industry in that small domain, like because we, like from where I sit, like the roles, like where we are in, what it does, like is we have the breadth of the information. Like we look at it from a start to end from this way. Like you come in with these niche, nice solutions which really solve a business problem, and like so you need to have that depth into it, and the depth that like you are getting into it is the privacy part of it. Like, and once again coming back to on the compliance side of the things work, depending upon the region that you are working. And like when I say region, like not the municipal region, but like the geographical region, the compliance changes. Like I think every, like a Canadian privacy law is different than a US, will be different than a UK. And like even on top of the Canadian municipal law, there might be some local area regulations. So I think when talking to the leaders, yeah, I would love for the team to bring in that localized concept to really have it and say, these are the 8 things that you should be compliant about. And this is how our product makes sure that like you are compliant to these 8 or 9 things. Rather than saying we do it with US, we work with UK, GDPR, that's the best, like all those kind of things. If you just contextualize it and bring it to it and say, this is what you need to do, and this is how we deliver it, I think that would be really, really helpful.
Very well put. This is another, like I said, every time we talk to you, we learn. So this is another one of those. So basically think global, but act local, make it super contextualized. Talk about what in that country, in that region would be of use, not only just the overall international regulations and so on. Very useful, Casey. We will work on them and contextualize as we go and talk to our other partners and customers. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us today and sharing your perspective into how the IT landscape is changing, how does that impact privacy and security worlds, and how one could go about looking at different solutions that are there in the market. We really appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much again.
And thank you for having me. It's great to share my views, like not that like many people subscribe to it, but like I think I wanted to express what I thought like would go into it. But so thank you for giving me this time.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's a pleasure.